Ashley! Look at me.
Sorry.
Episode 1. Stan Edgar discusses using soups in the military. Homelander holds Translucent's funeral with his family, including his son Maverick, and lies that a soup terrorist, El Diablo, killed him. The boys hide with Frenchie's friends. Frenchie and Cherie handle gang business, Mother's Milk works as a medic, and Hughie manages supplies. Hughie secretly meets Starlight, giving her a photo of Gecko for a mission. They see themselves wanted on the news and debate running, attacking Compound Phi or staying hidden. Butcher is missing, blamed for Madeline Stillwell's death, making Mother's Milk their leader. Homelander visits Madeline's office, drinks her breast milk, and meets Ashley, who thanks him for her promotion. Homelander then injures Blindspot, rejecting him from the Seven, and threatens Ashley to report only to him. Starlight tracks Gecko, secretly recording him regrowing his severed arm. Meanwhile, Frenchie's friend arrives injured, revealing they smuggled a soup terrorist. The boys debate informing Annie, and Hughie admits meeting her secretly. The Deep, at Eagle the Archer's house, starts therapy with Carol from the Church of the Collective. Annie meets Gecko at a diner and blackmails him into stealing Compound V from a lab. Queen Maeve and Homelander shoot a co-Mother's Milker seal for their Save America campaign, trying to show they are defeating soup villains. Stormfront, the newest member of the Seven, joins the set, shocking everyone. She explains that Stan Edgar made it happen and live streams the meeting to her fans. Homelander pretends to be excited but walks away angrily. The boys meet with Susan Raynor, who asks if they know where Butcher is. They say no, and she updates them on their families. They give her a description of the soup terrorist. Raynor thinks Vought International is behind everything, running a secret coup. Suddenly, her head explodes, and the boys are covered in her blood. They run into their van, guessing that Vought killed her because she knew too much. Homelander visits Stan Edgar and asks about the new members of the Seven. Stan tells him that Vought is not just a superhero company, it's a pharmaceutical company. He says that Homelander is less important than he thinks, and that Compound V is their real asset. Homelander gets frustrated and flies to Becca's house to see his son. Starlight calls Hughie, excited to expose Gecko and get the Compound V news out. Butcher shows up at the boys' hideout, surprising Hughie and everyone else. Episode 2. The boys are in hiding. Kimiko writes, "Boy," but Frenchie does not understand. Homelander plays ball with Ryan. Becca interrupts for homework, leading to an argument about raising Ryan normally versus using powers. Carol struggles to connect with the Deep in therapy. Eagle gives him a mushroom drink for a spiritual journey. Grace Mallory attends Susan Raynor's funeral. Butcher meets her, promising to find the super terrorist to uncover the truth. On mushrooms, the Deep talks to his gills, admitting his shame and insecurity, which caused him to hurt women. Starlight and Stormfront do interviews about gender in heroism. A-Train returns, making Starlight nervous because he could expose her. She privately reminds him she saved him and hopes he stays quiet. Butcher returns, telling the boys Mallory will clear their records if they capture the super terrorist. The Deep apologizes to his gills, learning self-acceptance. Gecko gives Starlight Compound Vi, but A-Train catches her hiding it. The boys search for the super terrorist at a costume shop. Kimiko kills a Shining Light member and reunites with her brother Kenji, the super terrorist. Butcher tries to kill Kenji, but Hughie stops him. Kenji uses his powers, and he and Kimiko escape. The boys, except Butcher, agree to let Kimiko stay with her brother. Butcher reveals Becca is alive with Homelander's son and asks for help finding her. Admitting his deal with Mallory depends on capturing the terrorist. Kimiko tells Kenji they were both turned into monsters. Starlight texts Hughie that she got the Compound V, and then A-Train shows up and catches her with it. A-Train threatens to tell Homelander everything, but Starlight tells him he won't because she has proof that he killed Popclaw and it was not a suicide. They have a standoff, and A-Train leaves. Kimiko's brother tells her that the Shining Light Liberation Army fights for justice, saying that the Americans killed their whole village and made them look bad. Kimiko begs him to stay and run with her, but he refuses, and they start to fight. Kenji tries to run, but Kimiko puts him in a chokehold, and he passes out. The boys show up in a van, put Kenji in the back, and Butcher punches Hughie. He warns Hughie that if he gets in the way of his plans again, he will kill him. Episode 3. The boys sail on a yacht. Butcher calls Grace, saying the target is 3 miles away, reminding her of their deal. He warns that if Kimiko switches sides, he will stop her. Kimiko tells her brother she'll protect him. He begs for freedom, but she cries and apologizes. Becca makes breakfast for Ryan, but Homelander's arrival upsets her. A writer pitches a new Dawn of the Seven story, but Stormfront criticizes him for making women look bad. Ashley gets a scary message and rushes to Stan Edgar, who says a bigger problem matters more than Homelander. News about Compound V spreads. Starlight smiles watching it. A-Train confronts her, suspecting her. The Deep tells Eagle and Carol he hears sea animals begging for life and is heartbroken to learn he was not born this way. Black Noir cries after hearing the news. Hughie and Mother's Milk celebrate making a difference, but Butcher warns them to stay focused. Meanwhile, Homelander forces Ryan to jump off a roof. Ryan refuses, but Homelander pushes him. Ryan falls hard. Becca rushes to him. Homelander insists Ryan is fine. After Homelander grabs Becca's wrist, Ryan angrily pushes him away, his eyes glowing red. Frenchie talks to Kimiko's brother, who says Kimiko uses a private sign language. Frenchie asks to learn, but the brother refuses. Frenchie leaves chips and soda behind. A police helicopter flies over the yacht and tells them they are under arrest. Kimiko's brother had used a piece of metal from the can to free himself. He uses his powers to crash the helicopter. The group runs away, but Hughie feels terrible that people might have died. Stan Edgar tells the Seven that they must stick together and focus on catching the super-terrorist. Homelander says he does not care if everything else burns, but the Seven are like his real family. The boys are now being chased in the yacht by sharks, led by the Deep. The Deep rides on a giant whale and blocks their way. Butcher drives the boat straight into the whale, killing it and knocking the Deep out. The boys escape into a sewer and start moving through the tunnels to find the FBI hideout. The Seven find the Deep crying over the dead whale, Lucy. A-Train tries to catch the boys but collapses from his weak heart. Starlight runs into Hughie, knocks him down with her powers, and Homelander orders her to kill him to prove her loyalty. Butcher distracts Homelander, and Kenji uses his powers to collapse the tunnel, dropping debris on Homelander. Kenji escapes with Kimiko chasing him. On the rooftops, Stormfront attacks them, hurting Kimiko and breaking Kenji's wrists. Stormfront kills Kenji, taunting him as he dies. Kimiko watches in horror but is forced to flee as Homelander returns. At a press conference, Stan Edgar denies knowing about Compound V, blaming Madeline Stillwell. He praises Stormfront as the hero while the crowd cheers. Homelander watches angrily. The boys, covered in blood, watch the news from their hideout, devastated and furious. Episode 4. Frenchie comforts Kimiko, saying it's not her fault. He kisses her, but she pushes him away. Homelander visits a house where Madeline Stillwell, actually doppelganger, greets him, calling him a good boy. Butcher tells Grace they have no leads on Susan Raynor's killer. Mallory gives him Becca's location at a Vought facility, even though he did not finish their deal. Homelander complains to Madeline about Stormfront being the new favorite. She comforts him, but reveals herself as doppelganger. Homelander orders him to stay changed. At the hideout, Butcher plans to break into Vought's compound. Mother's Milk says it's too risky, but Butcher insists, saying Mallory promised to help find his family if they find Liberty. In an elevator, Homelander grabs Starlight's throat, saying Maeve saved her. Starlight claims she hates Hughie but refuses to kill. Homelander lets her go, saying he believes her. Later, Starlight meets Hughie to talk. Hughie leaves for a call and Starlight cries, saying she's overwhelmed. Hughie brings her to Mother's Milk and asks if she can join their mission to find Liberty. A-Train sees Shockwave in the hallway, freaks out, and runs to Ashley's office. She says it's for an event. Homelander walks in and tells A-Train he's out of the Seven. Homelander says A-Train cannot run anymore and that the decision was hard but final. Hughie, Mother's Milk, and Starlight go on a road trip to find Liberty. They see a car crash but do not help because they must stay hidden. Butcher sneaks into the Vought compound to find Becca, who apologizes for not telling him anything. She explains Homelander spared Butcher only because she promised to kill herself in front of Ryan if he harmed him. Becca mentions Ryan has powers, but she's raising him normally and suggests escaping via garbage trucks. Homelander and Maeve do a TV interview where Homelander outs Maeve as a lesbian without her consent. Afterward, Maeve admits she loves her girlfriend Elena, and Homelander sarcastically wishes them luck. Stormfront leads an anti-Soupy protest. Kimiko tries to approach her, but Frenchie stops her, warning she won't survive. Hughie, Mother's Milk, and Starlight visit Liberty's old house. A black woman reveals Liberty is now Stormfront, shocking them. Becca tells Butcher she's staying because she knows he does not truly want Ryan with them. Butcher calls Ryan a soup freak, upsetting Becca. She admits going to Vought when pregnant to avoid Butcher's revenge. The Deep and Carol interview women about relationships. The Deep prefers Gianna but agrees with Carol to pursue Cassandra for his public image, helping him rejoin the Seven. Homelander visits Doppelganger, disguised as Madeline. After Doppelganger flatters him and offers sexual favors, Homelander kills him by snapping his neck, declaring he needs no one. Episode 5. Maeve films a scene coming out as gay for Dawn of the Seven but walks off angrily. She confronts Homelander, asking him to leave Elena alone if she stops seeing her. Ashley shows Homelander a video of him accidentally killing someone abroad and protests, calling him a war criminal. Homelander storms off, furious. Billy visits Aunt Judy, mainly to see his dog, Terror. She mentions his sick father. The Deep and Cassandra give an interview about their relationship in the Church of the Collective. Hughie and Mother's Milk arrive at Judy's, confronting Billy about Becca and disappearing. Billy leaves but spots Black Noir on a rooftop and rushes back inside, locking the house. Mother's Milk calls the fire department with a fake gas leak to delay Black Noir. Meanwhile, Vought's team meets Maeve and Elena to shape their image as a couple, trying to make Elena look masculine. Elena refuses and storms out. Maeve begs her to play along for safety, promising to eventually take down Homelander. Butcher tries to leave to face Black Noir alone, but Hughie and Mother's Milk insist on staying with him. Kimiko meets Cherie at a church. Frenchie learns Cherie pays Kimiko for hits. He warns her it won't help her heal, but Kimiko blames herself for her brother's death, pushes him away, and he leaves, frustrated. The Deep becomes the new face of the Church of the Collective in a co-Mother's Milk Ursiel promoting being your best self. A-Train, watching the co-Mother's Milk Ursiel, looks disgusted. Congresswoman Newman leads a protest against Homelander, who unexpectedly shows up. He tells the crowd innocent people sometimes die in wars, causing a riot. Furious, Homelander imagines killing everyone, but holds back and flies away. Homelander seeks Stormfront's help, and she boosts his popularity with memes. At Judy's house, Mother's Milk, Hughie, and Butcher hide from Black Noir in a protected room. Noir uses gas to flush them out, and they escape through a side door, but Butcher stays behind. Mother's Milk runs to help but gets stabbed. Hughie also tries but is knocked down. While Noir strangles Butcher, he threatens to release photos of Becca and Homelander's son. Noir's phone rings with Stan Edgar on the line. Edgar orders Noir to stop if Butcher agrees not to release the photos, which he does. Maeve offers to help the Deep fix his public image to rejoin the Seven, but she has her own agenda. Starlight searches Stormfront's belongings for proof about Liberty. Stormfront catches her, but Starlight pretends she was confronting her about her mother. Stormfront threatens Starlight for leaking information about Compound V, and Starlight fires back, threatening to expose her as Liberty. Homelander enters, thanks Stormfront for helping him regain his popularity, and kisses her. They engage in rough sex, floating in midair after Homelander lasers her chest, which has no effect. Episode 6. In a flashback 8 years ago, Frenchie, Cherie, and Jay plan a bank robbery. In the present, Starlight asks Frenchie and Hughie to remove her tracking chip, scared of Stormfront. Frenchie removes it. Meanwhile, Stormfront and Homelander flirt while catching a robber, with Homelander crushing the robber's head. Starlight tells the boys she hacked Stormfront's laptop and found emails with Stan Edgar about the Sage Grove Center. In another flashback, Grace Mallory offers Frenchie a deal: work for her or face prison. She also threatens to jail Cherie and Jay, so Frenchie agrees. At Sage Grove, the boys disguise as nurses. Starlight cuts the fence. Butcher, Starlight, and Hughie stay outside, with Billy almost shooting Starlight but stopping himself. Starlight and Butcher argue, but Stormfront suddenly flies into the center. Inside, Mother's Milk, Frenchie, and Kimiko kill a guard and access the surveillance room, seeing Soups being tested. Hughie warns them to get out once Stormfront leaves. Frenchie sees Lamplighter and attacks him, causing a fire that frees a powerful patient, Cindy. Lamplighter begs Cindy for mercy. A guard shoots Cindy, and she crushes him, freeing all the Soups. The boys and Lamplighter hide. Lamplighter threatens them, but Mother's Milk warns him Kimiko will kill him if needed. A patient vomiting acid attacks Lamplighter. Kimiko saves him. Lamplighter agrees to help them escape by leading them to the front door and giving the code. An escaped patient attacks Butcher, Starlight, and Hughie with an energy blast. Butcher kills the patient, but Hughie is seriously hurt, so they rush him to the hospital. Back at his trailer, Homelander feels abandoned by Stormfront and burns it down in anger. When Stormfront returns, Homelander accuses her of lying. In a flashback, Mother's Milk plans to propose and shows Frenchie an engagement ring. Lamplighter arrives, and Grace Mallory threatens him with secret photos to get information. Grace orders Frenchie to follow Lamplighter, but Frenchie leaves the mission to help his friend, Jay, who's overdosing. In the present, Lamplighter confesses to Frenchie that he did not know kids were in the bed he set on fire. He was targeting Mallory. Lamplighter asks why Frenchie did not stop him. Meanwhile, Love Sausage, a soup with a super long penis, attacks Mother's Milk through a window. Kimiko punches him out. Cindy approaches them, but Stormfront arrives and zaps her with electricity. Lamplighter saves the boys by lying to Stormfront, claiming the chaos was not their fault. Later, Stormfront reveals her full past to Homelander, showing a wedding photo with Frederick Vought in front of a Nazi flag. She explains she had a daughter with Vought and that he created the first successful compound V. She tells Homelander he will lead a new army of Soups and professes her love for him. Episode 7. Lamplighter meets Victoria Newman and Grace Mallory. Victoria wants full details about Sage Grove and demands more proof. Grace promises she and Mother's Milk will find it. Frenchie and Kimiko protect Victoria, while Hughie, injured, stays at her house to watch Lamplighter. Butcher gets a call from his mother saying his father, Sam, has died. Starlight meets her mom, who admits she stayed in town to reconnect. Annie realizes Vought tricked her. Before she can act, a smoke bomb goes off. Black Noir captures and locks her up. Lamplighter, watching superhero porn, talks to Hughie about feeling worthless. Hughie changes the channel and sees Homelander declaring Starlight a traitor at a press conference. Butcher visits his mother but finds out his father is still alive. He argues with his dad and nearly chokes him. Homelander introduces Stormfront to his son Ryan, calling him special as the first natural-born Soupe. Grace and Mother's Milk ask Jonah Vogelbaum to testify about Sage Grove, but he refuses. Ashley finds Maeve in bed with two men and panics over her public image. Maeve tells her to be human, and Ashley apologizes. Butcher later threatens Vogelbaum's family, forcing him to agree to testify. Lamplighter and Hughie sneak into Vought Tower. Instead of reaching cell 42D, Lamplighter stops in the Seven's conference room, stares at the mural, and burns himself alive while Hughie watches helplessly. Meanwhile, Starlight escapes her locked room. Black Noir attacks her and throws her into the Seven's conference room. He starts choking her until Maeve shows up, fights him off, and shoves an almond joy candy in his mouth, knowing he has a tree nut allergy. Maeve saves Starlight, but refuses to run with her. Maeve silently walks away while Starlight continues toward the cells. There, Starlight finds Hughie and Donna. Meanwhile, Ryan accuses his mom of lying to him after Homelander and Stormfront show him that the compound where he grew up was fake. Homelander tells Ryan he needs space and flies away with him, leaving Becca heartbroken. Elsewhere, Eagle the Archer goes on TV and says he did not mean to hurt his mom. In revenge, the Church of the Collective releases an embarrassing video of him and says he's lying about the church. At a big congressional hearing, Jonah Vogelbaum shows up to testify against Vought, but suddenly, people's heads start exploding, including Jonah's. Victoria and Grace watch in horror and run away with everyone else. The news cuts off the broadcast, and Butcher is furious. Episode 8, Grace Mallory and Victoria Newman meet the Secretary of Defense, who says Compound V is now approved for military and police use. Hughie and Starlight try to convince the boys not to attack Stormfront and the Seven. On their way to find a witness, Starlight asks Hughie about his love for Billy Joel and why he saved her. Hughie says he could not watch her get hurt. They visit Queen Maeve, but she angrily refuses to testify, feeling hopeless. Meanwhile, Stan Edgar meets Alistair Adana to discuss reinstating the Deep and A-Train. Stan agrees to the Deep, but refuses A-Train because of Stormfront's racism. A-Train secretly listens. Becca finds Butcher at a pawn shop, and Kimiko, Mother's Milk, and Frenchie comfort her. Ryan struggles to bond with Homelander and Stormfront. Overwhelmed at a restaurant, Ryan cries, and Homelander flies him away. A-Train gives Starlight and Hughie files exposing Stormfront's Nazi past, hoping to rejoin the Seven. Butcher makes a deal with Stan Edgar. He'll deliver Ryan if Becca is protected. Hughie shows the boys the files. Butcher plans to rescue Ryan alone, but the boys insist on helping. Frenchie and Kimiko share a moment while preparing sonic weapons. Stormfront returns to find her Nazi history exposed, ruining her reputation. The boys activate the sonic weapon, hurting Homelander and Ryan. Homelander leaves, and Butcher and Becca rescue Ryan. Butcher changes the plan. Becca and Ryan stay together, and Mother's Milk will take them to Mallory. At the cabin, Homelander kills Vought soldiers. Starlight and Kimiko fight Stormfront but are overpowered. Stormfront destroys the boys' car. Maeve arrives and helps beat Stormfront, who attacks Becca, Butcher, and Ryan. Becca stabs Stormfront in the eye, but Stormfront chokes her. Butcher fails to save Becca. Ryan uses his laser eyes for the first time, severely injuring Stormfront but accidentally hurting Becca. Becca dies, asking Butcher to protect and raise Ryan. Butcher controls his anger when Homelander arrives. Homelander tries to kill Butcher but stops when Maeve threatens to expose a plane crash he covered up. Homelander is shaken and lets Butcher and Ryan go. At a press conference, Stan Edgar blames Stormfront for the events and halts Compound V's release. Homelander falsely claims Starlight was not a traitor and is mentally breaking down. Alistair meets the Deep and A-Train, allowing A-Train back in the Seven and angering the Deep, who quits the Church of the Collective. Hughie and Starlight sit on a park bench, and Hughie says he wants to be his own man but is not breaking up with her. Butcher gives Ryan a pendant, and Mallory arrives to take him away. Mallory informs Butcher about the new Office of Soup Affairs, led by Victoria Newman. Mother's Milk is warmly welcomed home by his daughter. Homelander, furious and broken, is shown on top of the Chrysler Building, ranting. Later, Alistair speaks to Victoria about the leaked files and mentions more dirt on Soups. After the call, Alistair's head explodes, and Victoria is revealed as the cause. Victoria meets Hughie at her campaign headquarters, where he offers to work for her. She smiles and asks when he can start, and the movie ends. Hope you enjoyed watching this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, share your thoughts in the comments below, and subscribe to our channel for more great content. Thank you for watching.